Hello everyone, good afternoon and welcome to the latest Evenbreak Meet the Employer webinar. Just before we get going, our session today will be supported by our BSL interpreters Bridget and Gurmail. And if you will be using a BSL interpreter today, if you find their screens and just click on the three dots next to the image, and then you can select to pin them from the menu and they will be on your screens the whole time. We also have Denise with us, who will be doing some closed captions for us today. So if you're using captions, then Denise will be providing those for us. Okay, so if everyone's set up, let's get going and find you a role that suits your style. My name's Lee. I'm an account manager with Evenbreak. We are, as you all know, the UK's most accessible job board run by disabled people for disabled people. We currently have over 20,000 jobs live on our board right now from our inclusive employers looking for people just like you to join them. And remember, if you ever need any extra support, any coaching or any signposting services, you can visit the Hive at Evenbreak. So that's hive.evenbreak.co.uk at any time you like, but not for the next hour or so, because right now I'm here with Depop, and they are the online marketplace who are looking to make the world of fashion the most progressive and diverse it can be. Okay, we'd love for you all to get involved in the session today. So if you say hi or introduce yourselves or say anything, just use that chat box. And if you've got any specific questions for any of the panelists, just pop them into the Q&A and we will try and get to those towards the end of the session if we can. Okay, introductions out the way. So good afternoon to you both. If you wouldn't mind giving us a quick introduction, who you are and your roles at Depop.
Yeah, hi everyone. Thanks for having us today. My name's Jake. My pronouns are he, him, and I am a senior talent partner at Depop.
Hi everyone, thanks for having me also. My name's Natasha, my pronouns are she, her, and I'm a senior people partner here at Depop.
Brilliant, thanks guys. Right, let's get started. So right off the top then, so can you tell me a little bit about who Depop are? What is it that you do?
Yeah, absolutely. So we're a product focused business. We essentially provide an app. It's a marketplace that's really grown itself organically into a fashion-focused marketplace over the last 11 years. Our main advocates and audience are Gen Z, and they use the app to pursue entrepreneurship and really express themselves through their products. People use the app in different ways. So we have peer-to-peer sales, and that really stems from one of our main missions, which is sustainability, waste reduction, and really looking to prolong the life of items. We also partner with independent sellers to help them to create their own online shops. And in the most simplistic way, Depop is a combination of Instagram and eBay, where people can buy, sell, and discover fashion items, as well as being part of a community that we're building. We currently have over 30 million registered users on our platform, and we're used in over 180 different countries. Our main growth areas are being UK and Europe, the USA and Australia. At present, we've got around 400 people working for Depop across our offices based in London, Manchester and New York, with the majority of people based in the UK.
Fantastic, brilliant. I should probably pay a little bit more attention to the fashion world then. I didn't realize it was such a big thing. So so what sort of roles can our candidates expect from Depop then? Is it all just, you know, do you need lots of designers? Is it all about making like ranges and stuff, or is there more to it than that?
Yeah, good question. I mean, we've got lots of different types of teams and functions at Depop, you know, all the way from customer experience, commercial, to the people and legal side, obviously marketing and design, and then product engineering and insights as well. And, you know, we're constantly evolving product-based company. So typically you'll see a lot of engineering opportunities with us, at all levels, including management as well. All of our live roles are on our website, but some of the live roles that we have include back-end software engineers of varying different levels, from kind of mid to senior, iOS and Android engineers as well. We've got a head of trust and safety, marketing analytics leads, some roles in our platform team, and also some open roles for product designers and product managers. There really is a place to grow for everyone, which is great. If we take engineering, for example, we have an individual contributor track that goes from junior engineer all the way through to a staff level engineer. And on the management track, if you wanted to take a step back from hands-on engineering, we have that goes all the way up to VP level as well. And now that we've been acquired by Etsy, we've had some really great success stories of people moving from Etsy to Depop and Depop to Etsy. So it's really helped kind of open the doors up into the wider house of brands as well.
Brilliant. So it sounds like you've got a really good spread, lots of different opportunities for people to get in, to find something that they can do and something that really suits their talent. So how do they go about doing that then? How do I apply for a role and sort of, get through the recruitment process? What does that process look like?
Yeah, so all of our roles you can typically find on our website. And once you apply for a role, you should expect to hear back from one of the members of our talent team on whether you're successful to move forwards or not within around 2 or 3 days. If we do look to move you forwards, then you would have a 30-minute initial interview with someone from talent, and we'll really go into the role with you in a lot of detail and go through some overall competency-based questions and hopefully answer any questions that you might have about Depop as well. Then if it's a technical role, you then meet with the hiring manager and then have a technical interview. And that consists of 1 hour pair programming and then 1 hour's whiteboarding exercise, followed by a meet the team interview. So that's our process for technology. If it's a commercial based role, we typically would follow the same process, but instead of having a technical interview, that would be replaced by a presentation or a task. And then after the interviews are complete, our hiring manager and our talent acquisition partner would get together and discuss feedback. And then we would either move forwards to offer, or we'd give you some constructive feedback as to why you wasn't successful. We've worked really, really hard this year and the last part of last year to create some dedicated rubrics and scripts to really eradicate any bias at all levels and make sure that everyone is on that level playing field when coming into a role at Depop.
Fantastic, because I know that a lot of our candidates, they from past experience or just from applying for places might sometimes be concerned about those unconscious biases that sometimes creep in. So the fact that you've actively done stuff to seek those out is really brilliant. So one of our candidates from Evenbreak sees one of your roles on the Evenbreak board. They come to your site and they think, yeah, this sounds really good. I'll apply, but I might need a little bit of help, or I might need something specific while I'm applying. What sort of allowances and sort of adaptations can they expect or ask for during that application process? What can they do to make it easier for them, to let them show their best selves during that process?
Yeah, absolutely. So, at all times throughout the process, we're constantly asking if our candidates need any reasonable adjustments. We also have closed captions on our calls, and we have the option to do all of the interviews fully remotely as well. Natasha, if you could walk through some of the other adjustments that we have, that would be really helpful.
Yeah, of course. So we could think about things like more time to prepare, perhaps before the process or even during. Recently, we had an example whereby we changed the interview process slightly to allow the candidate to come into the office, meet with the team, really get to know our space and the team itself before both parties made the decision. So there'd be loads of things we'd be open to considering it. So it's always worth asking the question if there's a specific adjustment you've got in mind.
and that's sort of all, and that's all the way through from that application through that testing and the interview and all that, anything that they might need specifically,
Yeah,
it's
definitely.
considered. And
Of course.
fantastic to hear, because again, it's another part of that process, particularly that interview stage, where people can be a little bit nervous, they can be a little bit worried that their disability might affect how they come across or how they perform in that interview situation. So the fact that you guys have got things put in place to allow for that is brilliant. So okay, so going back to that, so I've got my, I've read the job description. I'm confident that I'll be able to ask for things during the process, and I've got the application form and the stuff in front of me. So how do I go about really making that application stand out? What do I need to do to make sure that with all the the bits about taking the bias out, what can I put into my application that's really going to make it pop?
Yeah, definitely. So, I think first and foremost, really making sure that you take your time to fill out all of the application questions in as much detail as you can. This really shows taking the time and shows the interest in the role. I think, we always like to see people tailor the CV with their key skills and experience relating to the job that they're applying to as well. So really tailoring it per position is really helpful. We get lots of applications, so we want to make sure that as soon as we open that CV, we can see what kind of key skills that you can bring to the business. And we also look for people that are really passionate about our mission as well. So any kind of interest in sustainability, waste reduction, any kind of success stories you've had, or maybe businesses that you've worked in that relate to that, it's really great for us to see.
Yeah, because I know that's, and from what you said in your intro as well, that's a big part of what you guys do. And I guess it's an issue that comes up, I suppose, when people are talking about fashion, is that sustainable element, with people, like the way people shop, I guess, and the way people think about fashion. So, having that in there is, is really good. And it's good to know that people can come in with that sort of experience and that sort of focus to find somewhere that they could really use those skills. So okay, so I've done my I've put in my application, I've gone through the process, I've done really well in an interview or in the skills tests, or whatever it is that's part of my application. So I get through, I get that offer, and I turn up, at the offices on day one. So what do I know? What does it look like when I come into the office? What can I sort of expect from the environment, I guess?
Well, first day usually revolves around welcoming you and getting you set up for success. So whether you come into the office on your first day or you're remote, we focus on getting systems all ready, access to everything. And our IT team are really great at helping with that part of the onboarding. Then alongside that, our people ops team run a couple of induction sessions. So the first one would be on your first day, and that's really about like a high level recap of what we do and what we're about, and a bit about stuff like benefits and stuff that you can access from day one at your time at Depop. And then across your sort of first 6 weeks, you'd expect another 2 kind of induction meetings. The second one would be more about getting to know each department at Depop and what they do. And we often invite a member of those relevant teams to come and talk about what they do and what their teams are focusing on to really bring it to life. And then we might invite you to meet some sellers, for example, to really get to know the core of our business and what they do. And so lots of opportunity to learn about the different teams and how we operate. And then we have a weekly huddle on a Monday, which is for the whole company is invited to that. And we take that opportunity to welcome any new joiners that have joined in that week or around that time, and we get them to say hello, and actually ask them to share a fun fact about themselves. So a really great way to welcome people to the team and get to know them a bit, so that then when you perhaps meet them in a meeting or just in the office even, you've got some common ground and something to talk about.
Yeah, it's always good to know to be, you know, have that introduction, that first introduction to your new team or department or whatever it is, just to really feel like you're included. And who doesn't love an icebreaker, you know, a fun fact or a favorite TV show or something along those lines. We do it, I know we all do it all the time. So steering back towards, you know, our candidates and now sort of, you know, thinking about disability and those adjustments again. So we've got all the reasonable adjustments in the recruitment process. What sort of things could be done, like actually in the office once we're there, once the candidate is in a role, you know, in that day-to-day environment? Is there anything that is set up in the office, or that, you know, can be done in the office to make them comfortable and to get them like the best out of people?
Yeah, we've got quite a few things. So I think you mentioned earlier on that our mission is to be the world's most diverse, progressive home of fashion. And in reality, we want this to be true of our workforce too. It needs to reflect the same, right? And in my experience, how this translates is we're always open to ideas and ways of doing things differently. So always willing to learn, and hopefully we'll learn from you all today as well. In terms of what we've got available, we want everyone to feel supported and included at work, whatever that looks like for them. And we're keen to build and continue to grow our environment so we can support and accommodate any kind of need or disability. So we have what we call an activity-based workplace, which is designed with a variety of spaces all under one roof. We've got an open plan kitchen, hangout spaces with sofas and benches, so lots of different comfortable areas. And then we've also got some focus areas where if you need some quiet time, then no calls are allowed in those spaces. If you need a bit more room to move around or perhaps collaborate with other people, we've got bookable workshop spaces and larger meeting rooms that can be used for those, private phone booths and smaller meeting rooms that are also dog friendly if that's your thing. Then we do sometimes have some dogs in the office. We've also got some well-being rooms which are decorated in like some soft grey tones with some kind of calming like forest colours, great spaces that you can take a moment to just kind of be with your on yourself and take a moment to regroup if you need a bit of a time out from the rest of the office. And there's loads of signage throughout the office kind of reminding you of those spaces and where those focus areas are, and to help kind of respect those areas. Stuff like standing desks, different types of seating. In fact, where I'm looking out of the window of the room I'm in, then there's some benches in the middle as well as you kind of your standard desks. We've got areas with dim lighting. We've got access to the SAD lamps if you need that sort of thing. So lots of different things like that. And then of course we've also got accessible bathrooms and lifts and ramps wherever there are steps required. So there's some specific things like that physically. And then there's other things that we use that you might be familiar with through other employers, like Access to Work, where we can look at assistance with any costs needed for individual adaptations. And I think Jake mentioned earlier, we can provide closed captions during company-wide presentations. We also have an allowance to assist you with your home setup for your home working environment. And like I say, we're always looking for feedback and putting out surveys about our workplace environment in general, and to understand how it's going and where we could adjust. So always open to hearing more about what we could do. And then there's loads of other things around kind of our general and health and well-being resources. We do stuff like stress risk assessments, wellness risk assessments, recovery action plans, like loads of different things that we could look at to kind of help make any adjustments and continue reviewing those and seeing how they're working in practice. And then lastly, probably just worth mentioning the benefits that we have that all Depop employees would have access to. So stuff like private healthcare. We work with a company called Space, whereby basically every employee gets up to 5 counselling or coaching sessions, and that can be on anything from work or at home. We operate our flexible working policy. We call it My Mode, and basically that helps you. Either you could be, depending on your role, you could be working more remotely versus more in the office, but typically we tend to be in the office 1 day a week, which seems to work really nicely for lots of people. We have access to an employee assistance program. That means you can kind of call for advice and guidance on anything and everything, financial, mental, physical, at any time in the day. And loads of other things, workplace adjustments, access to work. So hopefully lots of things that can cater to lots of needs, as well as those specific physical needs as well.
Yeah, wow, it sounds like an awful lot of thought has gone into the design and the sort of the bringing together of all these different elements in that office space, and having spaces where it's quieter, where you've got like special certain lighting, or indoor and outdoor spaces. And it sounds like it's really been an effort made to let everyone work in whatever way they can and be most comfortable. But I guess in a creative environment that you're in, it helps to make people as relaxed as possible and as comfortable as possible. Especially if you've got people, putting ideas in and bringing out like new things and bringing new things forward. So is that just in sort of like one main location, or is that sort of thing available wherever you're working? Obviously, if you're in the office.
Yeah, most of the things I described, like the physical things I described, are in our main office. But again, we'd be open to thinking about stuff required at home, or what adjustments we could look to make at home to, exactly like you described, make it a fun, enjoyable place to work, but also something that works for you and allows you to do your work and be at your best.
Yeah, brilliant. So with this, so you've got lots of like practical things in the office, lots of ways to make people feel, as you say, feel comfortable and work at their best. So our candidates know in particular, you've got people coming in that are coming from Evenbreak as disabled candidates, people that might have certain needs or certain questions about the sort of the day-to-day. Is there any sort of support that they can go to, or any sort of networks that you've got within Depop for people while they're working? I know lots of people have sort of various networks and things set up. Is there something like that at Depop?
Yeah, so we sort of have 2 groups that fall into 2 categories. Let me explain. So last year at Depop, we set up our first, what we call employee resource groups, or ERGs. And the idea behind the ERGs is that they're employee-led, but company-sponsored and designed to bring a bunch of people together that perhaps have a similar something in common, and they want to lead some initiatives around that common theme, but maybe also around promoting development, recruitment, or retention in that theme, or just raising awareness even and representation of that group. So we've got 2 official, if you like, ERGs. One is around mental health and well-being, and one is around underrepresented gender identities in our technology space. And then we have some open groups that we consider safe spaces. So they're more informally set up groups, but still an opportunity to share ideas and thoughts with like-minded people. And there's a whole host of these. So we've got a Black at Depop channel, Depop Parents, BAME at Depop, LGBTQIA+, UGI and Tech Allies, a disability group. So loads of different arenas where you can, like I say, come together, share ideas, and we're always looking at ways of like I say, raising awareness and allowing for representation of those groups. Whatever's important really to employees at the time is where we'd want to focus our efforts.
Yeah, so it almost sounds like it'd be it'd be a shorter list to ask who isn't supported in that space between the ERGs and all the adjustments in the actual workspace. It sounds like anyone could almost, like, where anyone would fit in. That's fantastic. So okay, let's talk a little bit about sort of candidate experience and levels to come in. I know, Jake, you said at the beginning that you've got lots of different areas and lots of different role types available, but what sort of level and experience do people need? Have you got sort of like starter programs and maybe like internships running, or do people need experience in either fashion or tech or something to really get going, or can they come in at sort of a more entry level and really start from the beginning?
Yeah, no, really good question. So we do have definitely a variety of different roles that we hire for. In the UK, we don't currently have an internship program at the moment, but it's definitely something that we'd love to consider moving forwards. But there are definitely more junior to mid-level roles that we do hire for as well. In regards to backgrounds, don't have to come from a fashion background, so to speak. We really just look for people with the same kind of mindset and mentality, focusing on sustainability, and people that really care about our mission. So as long as you have some kind of relevant skills for the role that it requires, it doesn't really matter what background that you might have come from. We're definitely open to looking at all applications for sure.
Brilliant. And so once we're in, you're in that office, you've got your like the groups and your training and stuff. What's like does progression look like through Depop? Have people got the chance to like really impress and really work towards like gaining sort of like experience and levels and moving up like through the company if they want to, and moving on to either like other areas or trying new things while they're there? Is there like sort of a progression through that people can go to?
Shall I take this one, Jake?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
So as Jake alluded to, we do have roles at different levels, and we have quite a structured, what we call leveling framework, that identifies at each level what skills and attributes are expected at that level, which in turn kind of creates a clear understanding of a bit of a career path across the company. So that's really helpful in terms of creating your own development plan and thinking about, okay, if that's what's expected at the next level, is that what I want to work towards? And then how do I create a plan around that with my manager and perhaps your people team? Then in different teams, they might have a more specific technical framework that aligns to that. So again, at each level, what are the skills I need? What are the skills I need for the next level, and so on. So again, you can create a bit of your own career path and identify what's my way and opportunity to progress. And we operate 2 promotion cycles per year, where we'd consider then any promotions being put forward. So it's something we're talking about all of the time. And then you asked about like moving between teams. So I think naturally we would open post our roles internally, so everybody would have that opportunity. And we do stuff in specific teams where they call it career experiences, actually, where you can go and try a different part of the team or a different role, and for a short period of time, let's say 6 weeks, almost go and do a project in a different space to learn a bit more about that team, gain a different experience, and stretch yourself a bit differently. So lots of ways of either growing and progressing upwards or kind of broadening sideways into different areas.
Yeah, brilliant. Fantastic, because as I say, you've got lots of different people, lots of different types of roles. So it's good that the people get that opportunity to really find somewhere that that fits for them, and that 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 they're comfortable doing, or if they've done something, they want to try something new. So it sounds like it's a really open sort of environment for that sort of thing. So I guess, again, thinking about this now, as what we talk about on Evenbreak and the places our candidates come from, why would you say in the sort of in your office or even in the industry, it's important to have that diversity of sort of thought and of experience? What sort of things can people bring? I get that it's a very creative space, but there's a particular focus on Evenbreak about people's skills, and why that diversity is sort of important. Oh, excuse me.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think having a diverse and inclusive workforce is super important. We've seen that it can lead to better decision making and problem solving, as well as really improving the employee engagement and kind of satisfaction as well. I think it really helps to promote, equal opportunity throughout, and really kind of break down barriers to entry for historically maybe marginalized groups in the past. I think hiring different types of people can help bring in different types of perspectives as well, and really help us tap into new markets, which can lead to new opportunities and therefore business growth as well. So overall, I think it's really important that we're aiming to bring in more diversity into the business, as it's a really big focus for us in general.
Yeah, because I guess, as you said, you're a worldwide brand, so I guess people's tastes and people's what people are looking for in different areas changes or is different across countries. So I suppose having people with different ideas and different viewpoints really helps cater to as many markets as possible, particularly as a predominantly or a completely online brand. I guess people can access from anywhere in anything they're looking for, right? Oh, sorry, it's starting to cough now. Brilliant. What else let's have a look to see. Just gonna have a quick look to see if we have anything come up new in the Q&A.
We've got
Some
questions, Lee. We've got some great questions.
Got some questions.
Really questions. Would you like me to read them out?
Yes, please. So Rachel's just going to pose a few extra questions from our audience and from the chat, just while I'm trying to work some of the tech. Thanks very much, Rachel.
Absolutely no problem. So Janiel's asking, is it possible to send in your CV to make a speculative application?
Yeah, good question. So we do have, I believe, a talent at Depop email address that we can post in the channel. Alternatively, you can always reach out to one of our talent partners, myself or my colleagues on LinkedIn. We quite often get people just pop us a quick message. Always happy to chat and happy to take a look. So yeah, absolutely.
Okie dokie. I love this question. I'm really looking forward to hearing both of your answers. Kendall asks, what's your favourite thing about working at Depop?
I'll go first, I guess. I think, the thing I really love about Depop is that you have such a great level of autonomy to really focus on what's important to you, as well as your day-to-day, and really get involved with lots of project work as well. We are very much in that middle ground of kind of, we're not a startup, we're not a big corporate, we're kind of in the middle. And because of that, there's so many opportunities that you can get involved with, whether that's getting involved with one of our ERG communities or a project with a different team, or even coming to your manager with a good idea and then running with it. There's so much growth opportunity. And I think that's what I really enjoy most about working here.
I think for me, it's the ability to be able to have fun, but still do something meaningful. So there's no day that goes past where I'm not genuinely having fun or like belly laughing, like something where the team, I guess that's probably more about people and the team, but we have a lot of fun. But ultimately, if you come back to that purpose and that piece around sustainability and like why we're here, to what we want to achieve, like it is still super meaningful, but we can do it and still have fun. It kind of still baffles me, but we're doing it all the time.
I love that answer. I love that answer. It's a great one. So Natalie has got a question. So Natalie's only able to work part-time due to her disability. When you advertise the role as full-time, would you be open to job share applications, or would you consider whether or not a role could be done part-time?
Speaking from personal experience, I did exactly that. So I work part-time 4 days a week, and I saw the job and I applied. I thought, oh, I'll apply and see what happens. And I asked the question and they were like, yeah, of course, we'll be open to that. And look, here I am. So my personal advice would be always ask, and my actual real life experience is it happens. So definitely.
Yeah, well, you said quite a lot early on, quite about you've got lots of roles that are flexible, and you've got the opportunity for remote and home working options as well. So if people are, not able to come in all the time, or not able to do that, then it sounds like there's a lot of opportunity for them to be flexible. And I think you said that a lot of people only come into the office on almost like a hybrid basis, right? They only come into the actual office a couple of times a week.
Yeah, it's our my mode. We call it our way of working, I guess. Typically, everybody defaults to 1 day a week in the office, like contractually, I guess. But there is the option to apply for a more remote option, whereby you'd then only be in perhaps once a quarter, versus maybe if you prefer to be in the office all the time, you could opt to do exactly that, and then we'd figure out a more permanent desk. But there's loads of flexibility within that. Some people do a couple of days. Typically it's 1 day a week.
And is there scope, if people really do like that environment, that they can come in more often than that?
Yeah, of course. And actually, we were just talking about it this morning, particularly this side of Christmas. We've seen quite an uptake in more attendance in the office, and a bigger desire to kind of come together and be together. But it's flexible, so it doesn't have to always be like that. Kind of depending on, I guess, what you're working on or what's going on at home and work might dictate how much more or how much less you do that.
Yeah, and I think that's almost a reaction to the environment that we're in, isn't it? Lots of people have been working from home or doing things remotely for a long time. So by the sounds of the way the environment is set up at Depop and the things you've got in your office, it's probably something that a lot of people are really attracted to, that they want to spend more time in the office, unlike maybe before, when everyone was just wanting to get out of the office all the time. It sounds like you're doing lots of things to draw people back into that environment and to make people comfortable with working together in those groups and stuff. So that's fantastic. Let's check to see who else is in there.
I've got some more questions.
You got more, Rachel?
Oh, I've got loads.
Coming by thick and fast. I can't keep up with this. Well done, guys. Fantastic questions coming through from the chat here.
It's not a problem. Right. So Holly has said, you mentioned career experiences once you're part of the company. Do you offer work trials rather than interviews when you're first applying to the company?
Good question. I don't think we do at the moment, being completely honest. But it's definitely something we can take away and have a think about, for sure.
Right, okay. I've got quite a long one here that I've just got to read the salient bits out. Actually, I'm going to ask another one question. Rona saying, I have to go for regular testing at hospitals. Is there flexibility within hours? I think you have said your My Work could probably handle that, but could you just do a little quick bit on medical appointments while I just read this other quite long question?
Yeah, of course. I think for any kind of appointments, we'd absolutely be supportive. And I think where practical and where possible, you try and schedule those around like key commitments and stuff. But any kind of thing like that, we'd be willing to support and agree kind of locally with your manager how you might either shift your hours around that or make time up elsewhere or whatever kind of works for you.
Right. So Amala's asking, what do you think is the best thing you've implemented to ensure disability inclusivity? There can't be a right or a wrong answer because it'll be better. It will depend on the individual, but your personal view, what do you think?
I think from my side, probably how flexible we can be around our working styles is a massive one. You know, if we think about all different types of disability, but also catering to lots of different types of people, whether that's potentially a single parent that might not be able to travel in, or you know, someone that potentially does struggle with something. It's really important that however you like to work, we can work around you. So yeah, I think from my side anyway, that kind of my mode working pattern is super, super helpful.
Yeah. I've got another one. So this is from Olivia. It's quite a long one, but thank you for this amazing talk. And could I just say to any of the Evenbreak team, no, you're not all going to leave and work at Depop. It sounds amazing. It's really, honestly, it's heartwarming to hear how much you are doing. I'm sure that you're going to get quite a few applications from our candidates. I see that Depop has advertised research-based roles. Would you advertise junior-based roles? Also, do you have any advice on what a researcher should know if applying to Depop?
Yeah, good question. I don't think we have any junior research-based roles at the moment, but that doesn't necessarily mean that we won't do this year or in the future. In regards to what a researcher should know, I think it's very team specific. So I wouldn't be able to answer that in the best ways. I wouldn't want to say the wrong thing. But what I would say is keeping an eye on our careers site. And should one of them roles become available, it should have all the details in there, and then we'd be more than happy to kind of jump on a call and really run through the specifics once we get that for ourselves as well.
That's fabulous. Thank you. I think you've actually covered most of the questions that have been asked. I think you've covered in your talk. So I'm going to stop now and hand back over.
Just looking at the rest of that question about the junior roles. Someone's saying that they use their dog in a lot of their interactions with their Depop app and their account, which just really ties in. I think Natasha, you said earlier on that you've got areas where people can bring pets and dogs into the office. So it sounds like this person's really taken that on board and is really using that as part of part of their experience with the app. Which is brilliant.
That's it for questions now, Lee.
Are we out of questions? Let's think, see what else we've got. So we've talked, and a lot of the things we tend to focus on in our talks with candidates, and a lot of things that come up, and what these questions are reflecting about is specific things that that people need, or things that can be done. Have you got any sort of examples of things people have asked for, or people have needed when they've come into the environment that might have needed to have gone through a process, or an assessment to have something put in place to help them really shine in that role? Any adjustments that that have been put forward by people that have been supported by Depop?
We've got a couple of live cases at the moment where, as you were talking, made me think of, I don't think I mentioned earlier, but kind of a typical thing you would find in a workplace around our occupational health provider that we work with. So a couple of cases where it's around perhaps a mental health and well-being situation, whereby we've used our occupational health provider to understand what what adjustments we could or should be making, but ultimately we're having a conversation with that individual and their manager to understand what might help. And that could be anything from perhaps adjusting working hours around commitments at home, or just the ability to get in to work or start work, and also just access to systems and things like that. We've also got somebody who's recovering from quite a significant injury. So again, that's just about easing them back into the workplace, either physically here, and what they've been doing is traveling in on either days that are typically quieter, just to kind of adjust to that, or, you know, coming in a bit later when it's less peak hours on travel wise. And also then making the use of those spaces in the office, the quieter spaces, booking rooms, all of that stuff, versus, I guess, the typical ones are around equipment, either for usually at home, but may well be in the office, you know, a different type of chair, a standing desk, that sort of stuff. Fairly, I say standard, but I've seen a few more of those more recently. Perhaps different types of headphones, all of those kind of things are things that we see. Don't know, Jake, if there's any other ones you're aware of.
Yeah, no, good question. I think, you know, just from personal experience, I've struggled with kind of noise sensitivity sometimes. And I actually spoke to our occupational health therapist about that, who recommended they were like these little silicone earpieces that you could put in your ear that were really subtle, but it meant that the noise could be quite, it could be cancelled a little bit better. So that was something that I managed to then get reimbursed through the company, who could support me with that, and also find me somewhere a little bit quieter to sit in the office if I needed it. So, you know, it's been really helpful from a personal point of view to have them adjustments. Yeah, so I guess that's probably a good example.
Is there anything that's come up during that recruitment process, that the interview section, or things that you've been able to do for people during that, before they even get to the offer stage, you know, anything that they've been able to offer for people to help them really stand out in those interview portions of the process?
Yeah, I mean, from a kind of talent partnering side, we really try and keep as close to our candidates as possible and really give them the best candidate experience that we can. So, you know, after every stage, we'll give them a call, really kind of run through how they were feeling during that interview. If there was any questions they might have maybe been a bit too nervous to ask to the interviewer that they wanted to ask us instead. And particularly when it comes to a task exercise, we really try and break that task down in as much detail as we can before they'll go into that call. And if they need more time to maybe understand it, or a longer session to be able to present it, then that's something that we have and can always accommodate for.
Brilliant. Sorry, I was just looking through to see if we had anything else in the Q&A. But I think we've covered a lot of things that have come up in that. So you've got something actually I was thinking about as we've been talking about the different types of roles and the different things and the different sectors you've got in. Do you guys actually at Depop actually get involved in the actual manufacture of the products, or is it more design and the sort of the marketing, or is there space for those real hands-on creatives to get in and actually manufacture things, or is that something that's a different part of the business? You can tell I follow, you know, fashion quite a lot, because I know nothing about any of this.
So we're very much a marketplace. So it's very much the buyers and the sellers on the platform are the ones that manage that piece. The typical types of roles that you'd see at Depop is potentially, on the engineering side, actually building our app or making any changes on our Android or iOS apps and making them as user-friendly as possible. It would be on the kind of people and legal side, managing the people in the business, or on the marketing side, we recently partnered with Tommy Hilfiger, for example, to help with some resale of some kind of old Tommy Hilfiger items that have been kind of modified and have gone back on the platform. So they're the types of roles that we would hire for. And that's generally the types of roles that we would have live.
Yeah, okay.
Oh, sorry, Lee, I'm just jumping in.
Go on.
I'm just jumping in. I've popped a link to the current Depop vacancies in the chat that everybody can see. So if candidates want to go over there and have a quick squiz at what's available. Can I just ask another quick question? Because I know this is something that we get a lot of feedback for from with our candidates. I love the fact that you said that you give feedback, because what tends to happen an awful lot with a lot of candidates is they just get ghosted. They spend hours on an application and then nobody gets back to them. So do you give feedback at every single stage, or even if it's just I'm sorry you've not been successful?
Yeah, absolutely. I think personally as a recruiter, that's really, really important to me. So whether you're not right for the role or you are right for the role and then you're not right at a later stage, you'll always get some kind of feedback, 100%. And if you've gone through an interview process with any of our talent partners, and they've met with certain members of the team, we'll always try and create some type of constructive feedback that might help you with future interviews as well. So that's really, really important for us.
Yeah, definitely. Because people, I know from personal experience that you send out lots of applications to places, and some people sometimes get back to you and some don't, and it always feels a lot better when, whether it's, as you say, whether it's constructive, some points, or whether it's, an acceptance, it's always better to have that feedback, so that the people are really, sort of makes you feel more invested in you and that your application. So the fact that you're reaching out to people and offering that is brilliant at that point.
Oh, sorry, Lee.
Go on. Another one. Have we got something else in there, right?
Two more quick questions before we wrap up. I just wanted to make sure that we got them before you.
Yeah, we like to try and cover as much as it comes through as possible in these sessions.
So Olivia's asking if could we please add you on LinkedIn? So I'm sure people will be looking for you on LinkedIn. I don't know whether or not you want to pop your LinkedIn profiles, or we could send those to participants later on.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm more than happy for people to add and chat about any roles we have. That's absolutely fine.
And then a final one for Mona: is being London based an absolute essential?
No, not at all. We have people based all over the UK. I think that's a really good thing about us being, kind of remote or hybrid first. So, I recently hired someone based up in Manchester. We have people in Scotland. That's the beauty of kind of technology and being able to work from home. So no, you don't have to be based in London. That's brilliant. Thank you so much. I'll be quiet now, Lee.
It sounds like it's not only us that might be looking to find somewhere. We know Rachel is one of our fashion conscious people at Evenbreak. We know this, so we have to keep an eye on her to make sure she doesn't try and go anywhere else. We're coming towards the end of the session. I don't know if you guys want to say any last bits about why you think candidates from Evenbreak in particular should really apply to Depop. Why you really want those candidates to come through, and what you think they could bring to the roles. What they could really do to sort of grow, help them and help you to grow. Why it's important to have that sort of candidates come through.
Natasha, do you want to take this one?
I think if we think back to our mission around inclusivity and being progressive, and then that question that Jake, you covered off earlier around why, it's so important for us to be open to new ideas and to be the first to be doing that new stuff. So for me, the more diverse our workforce can be, the more diverse we can be, and better and forward thinking and all of that stuff. So that's it for me. I think we're so willing and open to learning and being ahead of the market, then we can only do that by like increasing our like candidate pool.
Yeah, and it sounds like you've already done lots of things though to push towards that, increasing that diversity and that, you know, that breadth of ideas already. So that's brilliant. Jake, anything from your side, from TA?
Yeah, just to kind of echo what Natasha said, really, you know, we're really trying to build a really diverse, progressive fashion community. And we can't do that without being able to give people from all different types of background the opportunity to join us. So, you know, we really look for any types of people to apply, and we're always open to looking at bringing people on. Got lots of hiring to do this year, lots of roles to come. So yeah, just keep an eye on the careers page, and we'll keep you posted.
Yeah, definitely. And that I think Rachel put the link in the chat earlier for everyone. So yeah, really go onto Evenbreak and check out the Depop profile. Have a look through the roles that they have available. Read some job descriptions and really find something that you think you'd be a good fit for, or something that you think would even like challenge you. There's lots of different stuff on there, lots of things you can try. And once you've found that application, once you've found that job description that sounds really good, don't forget, if you go onto the Evenbreak career hive, hive.evenbreak.co.uk, there's a whole range of other candidate services, from signposting to support, and you can even book sessions with our career coaches to have a one-on-one session to really go through, maybe look at that CV, or talk about interview techniques, or, you know, anything that's sort of comes up, or anything you can think of about that process, to really try and help you put your best self forward and really thrive in any part of that process. And while you're there on Evenbreak, don't forget, there's also the events page, where you've got listings of all upcoming events for candidates, chances to meet our employers, chances to get together and really get some ideas about what's going on. So check out the events page on Evenbreak for all of that information. And always come back to the job board whenever you're looking for that new role, or the next step in your career, with any of the fantastic inclusive employers like Depop that we have as our partners. So I hope everyone's had a really good afternoon learning lots about Depop. I know I've certainly learned some things that I didn't know, which is always fantastic. So I guess we'll start off by thanking a wonderful panel, to Jake and Natasha. Thank you so much for sharing your experiences at Depop and your processes with us. I'm sure everyone's got a lot out of it, as much out of it as I have, certainly. And to thank again our support team, to Bridget and to Gurmail, who were doing our BSL today. For those of you using BSL, thank you so much for your time. Thanks to Denise, who was doing our closed captioning for us today. And as always, special thanks to Evenbreak's very own Rachel, who was doing our tech in the backgrounds, and who came on to give me a hand with some of those questions, with the sheer amount of stuff that was flooding into the Q&A from all you fantastic people out there. I hope you all have a really good afternoon and rest of the week, and hopefully we'll see you at our next Evenbreak event, and hopefully Depop will see some of you coming through with your applications to join them pretty soon. Thanks very much, everyone. That's goodbye from me.
Thanks, Lee. Thank you.